a secluded room of an illicit speakeasy filled with gambling, liqueur, and podcasts. Come inside, sit down for a drink, and join us while we discuss film noir of yesterday and neo-noirs of today with your hosts, Carly Street and Jason D. Morris. Hey, Carly, how's it going?
Sounds so funny when you play that on my end, because it sounds like you're like a ghost, like in the ether that's like trying to whisper through a wall. It's really cool, actually. Yes, it's like podcast.
That's funny. So we gotta figure this out, because like I keep writing the name of the show differently. It'll be like Speakeasy and then Noircast, or is it Noircast?
Thought it was Noircast.
Okay, cool. Obviously, it's incorrect in the video then. I don't know. Is it a compound word?
Now I'm confused. I don't know.
That's what I'm here for, to confuse folks. So, what can you do?
Don't need a lot of help really with that.
I don't know what your system is on, but it like moves like you're on a boat. When whatever you just did, that was pretty cool.
It's because that's why my microphone like is very distracting, because it's like balanced on top of my laptop, that's then balanced on top of a jewelry box, that's then balanced on top of something else.
Yeah.
And
it's
every time I go like that,
chair on top of the table.
Yeah, everything goes like. So I have to try and not be too like hand wavy like I normally am.
So what have you been up to this past like week or two? Anything cool going on?
Not really. I feel like I haven't really done a lot. I've been off. I don't really relax very often, and I think because I've just been sat watching TV series for like 5 days, I feel like a horrible, disgusting person that hasn't accomplished anything. Except that I can probably tell you line for line what happens in Falcon and the Winter Soldier now.
I think the Winter Soldier, like you talking about the TV show or the movie?
Oh, it's the TV show, and then obviously I thought, well, I'll just watch the movie as well.
Yeah, I think the Winter Soldier was the only one of the movies that I really liked.
Oh, I can see why. Yeah, I can see why that'd be your thing.
I don't know. I'm not really big into the Marvel stuff personally. Like I really liked the first Iron Man movie, and then I really liked the first Avengers movie. I kind of skipped over all the Spider-Mans because I'm a fan of Sam Raimi, and I think that the Tobey Maguire ones are, those are mine. So
yeah, it's fair enough.
Yeah, and I did watch the original. I don't know if you'd call it original, but the Incredible Hulk with the Ang Lee one.
With Eric Bana.
Yeah. Which that kind of killed his career, right? I think because it wasn't a very particularly good movie, but I don't know. It was interesting. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, it was very interesting. I just think I did very much enjoy Eric Bana and Hulk. I
didn't think he was bad at all. I don't think anybody was bad.
Quite worked. Yeah.
Yeah. It was interesting because it felt like he was trying to actually make a comic book movie, but then like comic books generally have a really serious tone. Yeah. And so I think visually in a movie, it like messed with people as to where you're kind of like, it's the only way to display it in a comic book is in comic book panels. But when you're seeing it in a movie, you're like, it's like a weird tone. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I thought it was interesting. Yeah. And I did like, I really liked, what's his name? Glass Onion, American History X,
Edward
Rounders.
Norton.
Edward Norton, yeah, I don't know why I couldn't think of his name. As the Hulk too, I thought he was pretty good.
I did, actually.
Huh?
I did.
You did? Yeah.
Yeah. Mind you, I like Edward Norton though. So.
Yeah, I think he's pretty good. I guess like he's really hard to work with apparently, but Mark Ruffalo I think is pretty good too. Like it's just different. I think they had good choices all around for all the Hulks, but and him and Wolverine are my two favorite comic book characters, always have been. But I was totally against Hugh Jackman as Wolverine.
Were you?
I was. Thought that was gonna be terrible. And even when I watched the original ones, like I still don't like him, but I thought he got much better as it went along. And then I thought he was amazing in Logan.
Yeah, he was really good in that. But that was totally different though, wasn't it? So maybe that's why.
Yeah, that was just a great film all the way around. Yeah. And that's what makes me okay with their choice for the Indiana Jones movie, Dial of Destiny, for having the Logan director. So I thought that was a pretty interesting choice because his first movie. Well, I'm not sure if it was his first movie, but the first one I ever knew of, a movie called Heavy, with Pruitt Taylor Vance and Jesus, what's her name? Aerosmith's daughter, Liv Tyler.
Liv Tyler.
Yeah. So there's a great small little indie film that he directed called Heavy. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out. It's really great. And you can just sort of see his progression, with those movies. But he never struck me as like a big budget movie director, but here he is. Anyway, I don't know why we're talking about Marvel. That's your fault.
Sorry. Not sorry.
What else you been up to besides TV watching?
Other than like dabbling in that writing that I sent you.
Yes.
Literally nothing.
Folks at home, Carly wrote this amazing short script. It's so good. I don't even I know it's sort of like based off of like mythology of Peter Pan in a way, like adjacent, but it's so much better than the idea of it having anything to do with Peter Pan, honestly. Hopefully, I don't know, put it in a book for now, like release a book or I don't know, like do something.
Just that one 10-page book.
Well, what I'm thinking is like you could do like maybe like 3 parts or something like that. Maybe get Ian or somebody to do some like artwork to like supplement the stuff to kind of go along with the atmosphere. That could be really cool. It could be fun because I think it's really good, and it would be really nice to like be able to shoot it and make it. But it's just a really great script. I think you did a fantastic job. And I don't even know why you would be worried about that. It's so good. Such a great little.
Because my brain like works really weird, and then just because I think, oh, wouldn't it be really cool? Because I like this. That doesn't always translate, as you very well know. Especially if I've done it in a day and I get myself in the right pickle. And I was actually trying to finish a film noir script that I just overcomplicated, and now I just don't even know what it is anymore. So I was trying to finish that, and then I was like dabbling about with this because I was getting annoyed. And then at one point I completely confused myself and thought that I'd like written on the wrong page. And then when you get in that cycle where because you've got yourself in such a pickle, it doesn't matter. I looked at it like 15 times and it was different things every time. And I was like, I need to just stop. Turn the laptop off and I need to put the Winter Soldier back on. So then it sat. So then I didn't read it. I didn't reread it properly. So when I sent it, I just sort of like sent it because then it was like out my head.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes you got to do that.
I had no idea. Like you could have got anything.
Well, what I got, I thought was amazing. So I think that's great. I don't know if it's what's intended, I guess, but I thought it was pretty good. But there's that thing where it's like you're writing a story, so it's like whatever you think is good or not, it's like I feel like you're just getting things out that you just need to get out, right? Which is a good thing.
Mm.
Like, stop worrying about if it's good or not. Just write it. That's what I would say. I don't know.
I'll regret that when I send you like 15 things and none of them make sense. And I'll be like, remember, Jason, doesn't matter if it's good or not.
Yeah, I'll just be like, did I say that?
You'll be reading it like, the fuck? This is a different story.
No, but seriously though, I thought it was really good. I thought it was very intricate and just the way it plays out. And I love the concept that you did with Hook and the Lost Boys. It was very interesting. I really liked it. I did. So
Yeah.
hopefully something happens with that in some form or fashion, because it's pretty cool. So good job.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, everything over here has been pretty crazy. I think I owe you like 2 weeks worth of like catch up emails.
I wasn't going to say anything because I thought if it's gone on this long, then there must be something behind the cycle. So I thought I'd just leave that.
Just time, is all it really is. Like, even like, there's so many things to do right now. And for folks at home, because we're producing a movie, so everything gets kind of hectic. There's a certain point in the pre-production phase where you just get into like what I call crunch time, where it's like everything is either falling into place or it's falling out of place, and you're getting so close to the time to shoot where it's like, I mean, it feels like it could just give you a heart attack at any moment, or like send you into like shock.
Or the silence, maybe just rocking back and forth, looking at balloons.
Yeah, because it's like it could be 1 minute, like literally 1 minute, it could be like, oh, everything's falling into place. This is great, awesome, can't wait to shoot. You can get a text, an email, or something, be like, oh, sorry, I can't do that. What? And then like everything's falling apart, and then you're scrambling, and I gotta find this, I gotta do. Oh my god, now what? And then like things that you weren't even on your radar that you have to do, then starts to pop up because things are starting to fall apart, and you're like, oh yeah, these 10 other things I forgot about because I was feeling great. It's just like, so that's crunch time, and it's a nightmare. It's literally like the month before shooting, and that's about where we are. We're a little beyond that, but it's getting you to that point where it's like, whew, this is where you wish you had a team of 20 people to do a bunch of different things. So yeah, that's where we are. So it's been hectic over here, but I do owe you some emails and stuff, because there has been stuff happening, but nothing like, earth shattering or anything, just typical stuff. But yeah, anyway, we're not here for that. We're here for the Speakeasy. And with that said, let's jump into the drink for tonight. Tonight's drink is called the Scarlet Sen. That's right. I'm a little confused on the title of this movie, by the way, but I did some research on what it can mean, and I think I got it. And it's just got to do with adultery, I guess. I'm not real sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Or potential, I don't know. I'm not really sure. It was called something else. Anyway, we'll get there. We'll get there later. So anyway, the Scarlet Sen is it's a bitter, deep red drink, which is fitting for the title of the movie. It is 1.5 ounces of bourbon, which I love bourbon. I don't know about Carly. She's a gin person, but who knows. 0.75 ounces of Campari for the coloring. 0.5 ounces of cherry hearing, which is a new one to me. I don't know what that is. Cherry here, Heering. It deepens the reds. A 1/4 ounce of dry vermouth. 2 dashes of Agnostra bitters, and garnish with a Luxardo cherry and orange peel. And I think the Luxardo cherries are the like dark cherries.
Yeah.
I think they call them. I think they're also like bourbon cherries or something like that. I'm not sure, but yeah. So directions: add all ingredients to a mixing glass with ice. Stir, don't shake. I feel like it's a James Bond reference. I don't know. No, it's shaken, not stirred, right? Let the tension build slowly. Strain into a chilled coupe glass. By the way, I hate James Bond, so I'll never get those references right. Express the orange peel over the drink, then discard and drop into the cherry. So express, I think it's just like squeezing the shit, because you see some of them like with the leaves and stuff. They're like, you ever seen bartenders do that crap? They're like smacking the crap out of your garnishes for your drinks. It's weird.
No.
I'm like, I don't want your hand juices all over my drink. It's weird.
It's weird.
Yeah. All right. There's also a optional femme fatale version where you can float a splash of champagne on top, which I think you said you don't like champagne.
No, not really.
Yeah, you don't like champagne? Yeah. You're an unusual female, Carly.
I know. It's been said many times.
Yeah. I do like champagne. It's pretty good. And I do like it floated on drinks. I think it adds a little... It's like having like a drink that's got ginger beer in it without the ginger. There's a little sparkle, bubbly, whatever. Yeah.
With the fizz.
With the fizz, that's right. Get that drink a little fizzy. It's a red fizzy drink. Yeah, I'm into it though. Cherries and bourbon. That works for me.
Bourbon, no cherries.
Yeah, you hate cherries. That's right. What did I watch? Oh, it's so stupid because we watched it for the podcast.
I know what you're gonna say.
Fresh and all the extra cherries.
Yup.
Yeah, what a crazy movie.
Yeah, what's crazier? He's chopping up people and eating them. She's like going on a date with him while he's doing that. Or the sheer amount of cherries that she seems to want in a fucking drink. She looks like she wants a dessert, not a drink.
Right? Yeah. She's like, I'll have a water and a cup of cherries. Just leave the jar.
Leave the jar. Get him up, fridge. I can see him. Bring him over here.
All right, folks. That is tonight's drink, the Scarlet Sin. I hope you enjoy that while you watch the trailer for tonight's movie.
I hope, Mrs. Nevins, that you aren't going to make trouble, because I assure you, I'd have no compunction against killing you.
I'm going to make trouble, all right, but not the way you think.
Not since Double Indemnity has the screen created so frank and compelling a tale of suspense, with exciting new stars living this dramatically different story.
I picked you up out of the gutter. Tried to make something decent out of you.
How would you know what was decent?
Branded by her background, driven by her desires, enslaving those she loved, destroying those she hated.
Is the business an alibi, Marsh? Or is it that wide-eyed little secretary I saw you holding hands with at the funeral?
Polly, stop it. You know better than that.
Do I? And why have you been brushing me off?
The terrifying obsession of the man under her spell. The courage of the girl who tried to break it.
No. You're the one clean thing in all this dirt. I want to keep you that way.
The thrill of playing a dangerous double game with men and murder. The violence that blazed as suddenly as a gunshot in the night.
You couldn't hurt me, could you? Never let me go. Never let me go.
Oh, what did I do? I think I clicked the button again. Is what I did. That was interesting. Trailer doesn't start over unless you click the button. Yeah, so let's see. The Scarlet Hour, 1956 American film noir crime film, directed and produced by the infamous Michael Curtiz, and starring Carol Ohmart, I think, Tom Tryon, and Jody Lawrence, not Joey Lawrence. That's a completely different person. Jody Lawrence. It was distributed by Paramount Pictures. Curtiz had previously directed such notable films as
Casablanca.
yes, Yankee Doodle Dandy and White Christmas. The screenplay was based on a story called The Kiss Off by Frank Tashlin, I think. The song Never Let Me Go, written by Jay Livingston and Ray Evans, is performed by also the infamous Nat King Cole, who has a cameo in the movie. Before we get too far into it, Carly owes us an in a nutshell synopsis.
So I really struggled to come up with one for this, and I'll explain why later on. So I just went basically with the wisdom of Adam Sandler. So in the words of Adam Sandler from The Wedding Singer, love stinks.
Yeah. Put a bullet in my head. I love that song.
I know, I couldn't get out of my head after I typed it. I'm watching that later. That's going to be what's happening later on.
Yeah, that's a great film. That's an absolutely great film. Occasionally he just comes out with something that's just like, wow, that's an Adam Sandler movie.
Right. I love it because it's actually funny. I hate comedy films that are like since whatever, and it's just not funny. But The Wedding Singer is just so funny.
Yeah, it is. And just the time period they chose to do it in, like everything like clicked with that movie. You know, that and the other one there's several that I really love that he did, but 50 First Dates is another one that I just love that film. I don't know if you're into that one.
Because Drew Barrymore's in it, by any chance?
It's not because Drew Barrymore's in it, but I thought she was amazing as well. She's just so adorable, like in most movies that she's in. My daughter hates Drew Barrymore, and I'm like, what? I'm like, it's Gertie from E.T. She's like, I don't care.
Yeah, but is that because she knows it from like crawling over a sofa trying to interview people and basically sitting in their laps? Or
I don't think so.
From like being cute in films.
Yeah, I don't think she ever watched her like talk show or anything, but I think she watched I can't remember what movie it is, but she doesn't like Ever After. I love Ever After. Like that's such a great movie. And she doesn't like that. She doesn't like anything with her in it. And it just kills me, except for maybe Scream, because she dies.
Because she lasts like 2 seconds and gets stabbed. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. It really bothers me. I'm going to find a way to fix her attitude. No, I'm kidding.
Too late. It's too late. You should have dealt with this when she was 7.
I know. She's 18 now. It is too late. It's over with. Yeah. I tried. I showed her E.T. I showed her things. Firestarter. Love Firestarter. Santa Clarita Diet. Awesome. Yeah. I don't know. So anyways, where's our in a nutshell synopsis? Did you already say it? I can't remember.
I did. I should have sang it really. I think for the in a nutshell synopsis, we should just have a clip of Adam Sandler singing Love Stinks.
Right. Yeah. Say you're not. I don't know why I can't. I know you said it, and it's got something to do with Adam Sandler. Say it again for me.
That's basically it. In the words of Adam Sandler, Love Stinks.
Love Stinks. Perfect. Okay.
Not that complex. Right. There's not a lot of layers
not.
To it this time.
Wait, I forgot again. What was it? No. Interesting enough, in this film, Lauren Bacall was initially cast as Pauline Nevins, but later left the production. I couldn't find out why she left. And then Barbara Stanwyck was also cast. And then she also left it to do another film. So I'm not sure if it took a lot of time for this film to get off the ground or whatever it was, because that happens sometimes and they have to leave. And then Jack Palance was considered for the role of Marsh, which I thought was interesting, before Tom Tryon, interesting name, was chosen. I didn't know anybody in this movie. I didn't recognize any of the faces at all, but I thought everybody was phenomenal as far as acting goes. I really thought that they were great. but I do get a lot of issues with this movie, which we'll bring up. But did you recognize anybody in the movie? Did you know anybody from anything?
No, I didn't, but I really liked Tom. Is it Tom? The guy who plays
Tryon.
Marsh. His name you
Yeah.
can't say properly. So he
What
was
is it?
so
Is
good.
it-
So I did some research on him, and now I'm just fascinated with him, and I've got to just like I want his books and things that he's done. Because you know, for like the first 10 minutes, I was a bit like, I don't know who these people are, but they remind me so much of somebody. Maybe I do recognize them. And by the end of the film, I figured it out. I thought that the guy looked so much like Henry Cavill that I was watching Henry Cavill and Hailey Bieber act for like 10 minutes because she looks so much like well, I should say Hailey Bieber looks like her. And I thought that Henry Cavill like looks a little bit like Marsh. So it was a little bit distracting. But no, I didn't. To answer your question properly, no, I didn't know anybody.
Who's Hailey Bieber?
She's married to Justin Bieber. Baldwin's kids.
She's
I
one of
don't
the
know which one.
Baldwin's kids? Oh,
Hmm.
interesting. Did you say she's married
Yeah.
to Justin Bieber?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't.
They
listen to
have such a similar like look. It's uncanny.
Interesting. Cool. Henry Cavill, Superman? Right? Okay. Yeah. I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. It's quite distracting for about 10 minutes. Then I got over it.
Oh, because you thought he looks like Henry Cavill, or because you thought he was attractive, or like all the
Because I thought he
above?
looks. I was trying to figure out who it was that he reminded me of because I was convinced that I must
Oh.
have seen him in something before.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to, like, I know what Henry Cavill looks like, but I don't think you look like him. I mean, basic, tall, dark, and handsome dude, chiseled jaw. Like, I don't know.
He did from the side. Like whenever he turned a certain way, he just looked like Superman's face. I was like,
No, Carly, no. He does not look like Christopher Reeves. Okay? The one and only Superman. So just
he might have done because it's black and white, so he could have been wearing blue. You don't know.
that's funny. Could have been.
I win that.
We'll have to put it in one of those AI color, black and white to color things. Those are so interesting. I don't know if you've seen those, but obviously, like they've been coloring black and white for decades, but the AI ones, it's like, I'm curious, like, how does it determine like what the hell something is supposed to be, colored as?
Oh.
No idea.
Don't know.
But they're pretty interesting.
That's worth an experiment one day.
Right? Yeah, I did it. I do these commission jobs occasionally in this company that I work for. It's a comic book company, Ebon Press, who's now they were bought out by Vinegar Syndrome. But they wanted me to do a promo video for one of their books called Bottom Feeder, which is like a film noir sort of like comic horror theme. And he wanted me to he thought that the original promo I made when it was originally released was in color, but it wasn't, because they did two versions. They did a color version, then they did one called the full black version, which is black and white. But I only did the promo for the black and white version, and he wanted it in color for this new version that's coming out. So I took it and I used one of those AI coloring things, and I have the colored version of the book too. And it was so surprisingly accurate that I was just like, how does it know like what those are supposed to be? Like, I just couldn't, it baffles my mind, but it was so accurate. Yeah. The only drawback that I could see is like, because the video I made was like a motion comic, it turned still panels into motion, right? Is the color would kind of flicker in and out occasionally on it. So it was unusable, but it was real interesting how accurate it was. Anyway, I know we're off subject again, as usual. Michael Curtiz, 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 Curtiz. Is it Curtiz?
Well, it is.
Curtiz. I'm gonna call him Curtiz. Michael Curtiz. I'm not particularly a huge fan of Casablanca. I think it's okay.
It's not my favorite. It's not my favorite. If there's a choice of Humphrey Bogart films to watch, that's probably in the lower region.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think there's some really great moments in that movie. But like overall, I think it's so boring, and like this love story thing just doesn't work for me in that movie. Like, and I know that's like a big deal with people, but I don't know why. Like for whatever reason, like it doesn't quite click with me.
I'm not a big fan of Ingrid Bergman either. So
yes, I
not
don't have a
my
problem
top
with her.
choice of.
Yeah.
If there was a load of films again with actresses in it, she'd be in the lower portion. So it would generally be quite low on my list generally to watch. I do like White Christmas though.
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen those other two movies that that he's known for. Yankee Doodle Dandy or White Christmas. I haven't seen. But I mean, everybody knows Casablanca, and I know his name from Casablanca even before I ever watched Casablanca. But I don't know. I think he's a great director, because I do think that the performances in Casablanca are really great. I don't have a problem with Ingrid Bergman like you do, but I just really I think he's a good, solid director, because his movies tend to be very visual looking, and the acting is really well done. And I can only equate that to him because obviously we've seen, Humphrey Bogart in plenty of other movies and whatnot. And there is a certain kind of quality difference.
Yeah.
That I think was only hit with The Big Sleep or something like that. I think Bogart was pretty great in that as well. But this movie is really interesting to me because it's so polished looking. Like, it's not your typical like B noir film. Like, the cinematography in this movie I think is amazing. Like, even for the time frame, like some of the lighting was really great, and then just like the shot choices, like there's a few things that stand out. Even like the garage scene when she drives home and then her husband like sort of like stops, just the framing, the light hitting the top of the garage.
With the shadow in the car as she's getting out, and then when she turns around and then he's like right there in it. Oh yeah.
It's really well done. And then the funeral scene, just like the slow push in, but you can see the like LA palm tree, city sort of scape behind it. It just looks so beautiful the way they did it. And I would have never in a million years been like, that's a good choice for a funeral. Right. Yeah. But it works so well and just looks fantastic. And there's so many shots like that in this movie that were just great. And then I'm going to put this out there too, because the costuming, we don't talk about costuming too much occasionally, but Shawnee brought up this, the pool scene where her friend comes over and she's like wearing a dress. Right. And she's like, let's get in the pool or whatever. And then she pulls this thing off and it's like a bathing suit. And it's just like, well, that was like, what was that? A robe? Was that a jacket? She looked like she was like in a formal dress. Shawnee's like, why can't we dress like that?
I want one of those. I mean, I would never suddenly whip it off and go in a pool. I don't care. I want to just whenever I want to.
What a great design, though. Like,
it like went front and sort of like buttoned in. I swear she had her hands in pockets as well. There was like pockets there or something.
Yeah.
And then just voila.
Yeah, you got to like be ready to swim anytime, right? Yeah. They need those for men too, like suits where you're just like, oh, I'm in my bathing suit. Why not?
I thought it was great. Or pajamas. Voila, pajamas.
That's right. Very cool. Yeah, I don't. She had a great point. Why do we not have that stuff anymore? Because that was amazing. Yeah. I think fashion designers need to go back and go through these like 30s and 40s and 50s films and get some new old ideas.
Yeah, because it's really hard to get hold of any of the stuff as well. There used to be a vintage shop in Chester that used to do the dresses, because Street used to take me there and buy me them. They're so expensive. I don't even think the shop's there anymore, but they said they were going to have to put the prices up because it was just so expensive to to buy it, to put it in the shop, to then obviously rebuy it.
Mm-hmm.
It was ridiculous, but it was really good quality stuff, and it looked really nice, like all the pencil dresses and everything.
That's cool. Yeah, it's rare that you see those nowadays, or they're going to be in like expensive like metropolitan areas. Like you probably could find them in London or out here like San Francisco or LA and stuff like that more easily. But otherwise, you got like Goodwill. You know. What did you think about the femme fatale side of this movie? Like, I have major issues with a few like key things in this film, and if they weren't a thing, like I would have loved it, because I loved this movie up to like a very certain point, and then it was just like you know, kind of thing.
That was such like a horrible bitchy face that you pulled. Then it was like,
Yeah, it's what it felt like, because it's like, that was fucking dumb. This is a great movie. Why did they? That was stupid. You know, there's a certain point where it's like something is so good where it's like, and then they do something really dumb. And it's like, why? Why did you ruin this for yourself? You know.
what point was that then?
Well, so there's two kind of points. The first point, one is sort of like is set up in the beginning of the movie, but then it like falls apart later on, right? But then in the middle, there's this scene that really was like really dumb. Like, I don't understand why he rented a car, the husband.
Yeah,
It makes no sense to me whatsoever. It's almost sort of like, I know she's going to disable my vehicle, so I have to rent a car.
it's conveniently round the corner.
Yeah, like it made
Yeah.
no sense. Like there was nothing that led to that being a great decision or why that would be the case. Like it just didn't make any sense to me. So that really like, that was one thing was like where everything sort of like makes sense, lines up. That was one point where it's just like, what the hell was that about? Why? You know, it just didn't make any sense. And it just felt like it fit the narrative. Like after he dies, okay, a car he rented is there. So nobody else could be implicated necessarily. There was no other car there, just him, whatever. I don't know. I really don't know. I tried for a while to figure out like to make it make sense, and it just still doesn't make sense to me. So that super bothered me. Then there's this aspect to the love story that really bothers me, where they set her up as kind of a classic gold digger kind of thing. She's into money. That's like the conversation about the bracelet when they're dancing early on. And she's like, it's pretty or it's expensive, whatever it is. I'm not going to take it off because it's pretty. And it's like, okay, so she's not really into this guy. She doesn't care enough, right? She doesn't hate her husband enough for objects to not matter. Like, you know what I mean? So she's money centric. So I'm going through the first part of this movie like, oh, she doesn't care about this dude. He's going to get set up and he's going to go down because he's deeply in love with her kind of thing, right? But then they do like a 180 like later on, and she's just like, oh my God, you're flirting with the secretary and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, why do you care? Like, you wanted the jewels, you wanted to leave. Like, what is happening? Like, it was such a flip of character. I didn't get it. And Shawnee's just over there like, oh yeah, she just wants what she can't have. And I'm like, that's stupid. Yeah, okay, women. That's stupid. You know, so like,
I mean, it's got a fair point, to be fair. I mean, that's kind of what would run through a woman's mind, is like, oh well, whatever. And then as soon as he starts talking to somebody else, oh really?
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
I didn't want him, but now you're not having him. So blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, again, so stupid. That's my feeling. I don't know. No offense to anybody out there that is that way. Just stay away from me.
I didn't get why he suddenly like fell out of love with her though that rapidly.
I just think it was just a culmination of stuff over time where it's just like, what the hell? Yeah, like this obviously, you know, there's something wrong with you kind of thing. And I think part of it kind of started with the realizing that she had actually killed the husband and lied to him about it. And it was kind of like, I think in the moment he's like, it's cool, we can deal with it. But also I think it's like, you fucking lied to me, you know? I'm
Yeah.
stealing from you, and whatever, or stealing for you. I mean, so I don't know. I think it was just sort of like a culmination of those little pieces going through.
Because I would have got behind that, because I quite liked how they revealed that, like, when she tried to give him a fake alibi, and then he's like, I don't understand why. And then I could understand why he would start to see that woman in her real light and say, and see this other lady and be like, she's actually really nice. This other woman has lied to me. She's shot a husband. There's a lovely lady who just wants to make me some stew, and she's worried about me sleeping. But the problem for me was we didn't see anywhere near enough of that woman beforehand, so that it was feasible that, yeah, he did like her. He just happened to like this other evil, crazy, conniving woman more.
Right.
So if she hadn't been part of the picture, he probably would have naturally gravitated to the secretary that was very nice. And then I could have understood how they suddenly were in love.
Mm-hmm.
Because there wasn't enough of it to begin with. It sort of like came about out of nowhere, because by that time we were so far into the film, we were running out of time to put them together. So they just kind of went.
Yeah. I think that's where they sort of like utilize a little bit of poor writing, where they're just like, I've always loved you. And it's just like, okay, well, that's convenient.
Yeah.
And
I've always loved you too, except when I didn't love you because I was in love with somebody else, but it's fine because she's murdered her husband, so now I'm back in love with you and your stew.
Right, yeah. You have that perfect, like... Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I mean, it's not...
very good in the 40s. I would have been very, very good to come up with these situations and just cover for people.
I agree. That, or like the 1700s, where you're just sitting around waiting for your suitor to show up. Where the hell is he?
Yeah. Off with his head.
Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I think the acting and the visual style like helps the movie a lot, but I think I'm not certain if it's the directing portion with like the car idea or the love story things that are fracturing it, or if that's script. It's hard to say with these older movies like what the actual issue was. I'm gonna go with script. Just because I think Curtiz he's proven himself before this movie, and everything about it, I think other than that stuff is pretty good. So I'm going to say it's probably the script, but I also feel like that was either something that's missed in the movie. Like I didn't catch, like with the car, like why was that a thing? Like I can kind of like, I can understand the woman flipping and all that kind of stuff. Okay, fine. I don't maybe personally like it, but whatever. We've seen that before. The car thing really bothers me because it doesn't make any sense, and I want it to make sense. So that's kind of where I land with that sort of thing. But I do think that it was an excellent demonstration of a lot of noir tropes, whether it's the lighting, everything taking place at night, the femme fatale sort of thing, and I wouldn't say a unique way, but she definitely sort of like flips. You're never really certain what her real motives are, which I kind of liked, but then also again didn't like when it comes to the love story thing. Like I wanted to know at some point, do you actually like this guy? Are you gonna set him up for her? Like what is the end result sort of thing, And you really don't fully get that till the end of the movie, But yeah, so it was like there's some things that are a little uneven in that way. I thought it was interesting the way that they did the setup with the jewelry heist thing, them out like in like Lover's Lane sort of thing, and then overhearing that kind of thing, because I was hooked. I was like, oh, are they gonna try to go steal it first? And then when the scene actually came to happen, I was like, oh, that's so much smarter. He's just standing outside waiting for him to exit and then take it from him.
Yeah, with his hand in his pocket, like.
Yeah, right. Almost like, why did my dumbass brain not think of that? I would have been like, yeah, we got to hurry up and get in there before them. No, just wait.
Let them do it. Let them touch everything. Just let them come outside. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, brilliant screenwriting. And then I'm like, renting a car, terrible screenwriting. So I'm conflicted with this movie. It conflicts me constantly. Yeah. But I did think it had all the sort of like important noir tropes, and I thought that they did them really well. And I think a lot of that is heavy-handed with, not heavy-handed, but like carried a lot with the cinematography. Was I think a super important piece of this movie because it's so good looking. And this remastered version, it's just a really good looking movie in my opinion. So I think that it's got a lot going for it. I would definitely like probably watch it again just because of cinematography, and I enjoyed the acting was really good as well. Like I didn't have a problem with anybody in terms of acting. But yeah, I think it's definitely worth watching for the cinematography. I thought it was interesting that it's not that it didn't do well when it was released, but it was kind of panned by critics.
Yeah, and some of the actors, I think.
Yeah, I read
one of the worst that they've done.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I did read that somewhere where somebody did say that was like it was one of the females. I think maybe it was the friend or maybe it was the secretary. I can't remember, but they said like all I did in the movie was walk in and say hi and say bye, and that's all I had to do, and it was like the worst movie ever, and it just wasn't done very well. And I'm like, wow, okay. I mean, I didn't think it was bad, like not like that.
No, we've seen a lot worse. Like,
yeah, oh yeah. So that was pretty interesting. But let's see. I didn't have a movie, not a movie quote, but a review quote. This is from the Times. It said, "It's a very drab hour and a half, and the company of actors who have not yet established their reputations and are unlikely to achieve them as a result of this movie. The story combines a rather unsavory triangle with the jewelry robbery, and the director, Mr. Curtiz, has achieved a certain amount of suspense, but little else." And that seemed to be sort of like the same feeling across the board from most of the reviews that I read for it. And that was kind of surprising to me. I did not think it was that bad. And I'm wondering, I did read a bit about there was a title change for the movie. So they went in, they shot the movie, I guess in a couple weeks or whatever, which is already impressive, right? And it was going under the name Too Late, My Love. And for whatever reason, they decided to change the title to The Scarlet Hour. And instead of just changing it and then releasing the movie, they had already been marketing it as Too Late, My Love. So they shelved it for several months. And then did a whole big campaign to remarket the movie under the new title. And they spent an additional, which is astronomical to me, $2 million to market the movie under the new title and then released it. And even before that, they had a couple other names that they were playing with. One called the Kiss Off or The Kiss Off. Big difference. So yeah, I don't know. I thought that was pretty interesting that they spent that kind of money. So the studio must have like really believed in it, or they'd already put a ton of money into the production and weren't willing to lose any money. Because I don't think it did poorly. It just wasn't received well. But it's surprising to me, as good as it looked. Maybe it's because it was marketed as like it's like a big budget noir. It had more at stake for it.
Maybe they marketed it a bit more with a bit more in terms of action and crime, and the leading man, maybe they marketed him a little bit out of context of what he is, because he's not like a hard man. He's not like a gritty character. He's not that kind of style. He's very much like an Alan Ladd, sweet man.
Yeah, you got
Doesn't
it. You
want to do
nailed it with that.
crime. Like,
Yeah.
so if you went into that's like me going to watch a film and then all of a sudden Tom Cruise is in it. What the fuck? You going? So maybe the people were like, you know, oh, let's go see this gritty, it's called Scarlet Hour, so it's going to be a bit feisty and gritty. And then they've walked in and been like, for fuck's sake, this is like Casablanca, but with less action. I don't know.
That was fun. I loved that reaction to Tom Cruise.
Thank you.
I was like that with what was it, Tropic Thunder, where he's playing the manager or agent or something like that. He's got like the fat suit on and stuff, whatever. I had no idea that was him. No idea. And afterwards, I was like, that's the most brilliant acting I've ever seen in my life. That's the best thing Tom Cruise has ever done. So I don't like Tom Cruise.
Not a big fan myself. So
yeah. But hey, is what it is. He's doing his thing. Guy's amazing. I gotta say, the stunt stuff that he's doing.
wow,
I mean, did I say amazing? I meant crazy. Yeah. I mean, so I really liked the first Mission Impossible movie, but it's completely different than they are now. Like that was a thriller, right?
Yeah.
It was about the story. These new ones are all about the crazy action. I just don't even care. Like it's got some good actors in it. Like I love Simon Pegg and stuff, but it just it's a different vibe, you know. That first movie, and maybe even to a lesser extent the second movie, were pretty decent. The last one, the first part one of The Reckoning or whatever they're calling it, that was terrible. That was terrible, you know. But anyway, I don't know why we're talking about Tom Cruise. Thanks a lot, Carly. You did it again.
Sorry. Not sorry. I actually am sorry. Yeah.
Talking about your favorite actor here. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we're getting to that time. Let me see. I got some. I think I'm at the end of my notes.
Oh, huh?
I'm at the end of my notes. Yep, we covered everything. Everything that I got. We covered everything that you got.
Pretty much, because I didn't really take too many notes, other than when they started referencing each other as being big again. I wrote down big again, as if to say not this again. Because there was like a 10-minute section where everybody was big.
Yeah.
I was just like, for fuck's sake. We've watched this. Thankfully, they stopped. So.
Yeah, it could have went on for an hour. That'd have been terrible.
Thank God it was a
quick
meeting.
I forgot to bring up too that bothered me is that when they're at the he's on the job site, you know, selling the houses, and then the wife shows up and they're talking, and then the husband shows up in the car, and then like she chooses to like run out of the building, and like he sees her reflection and stuff, and I'm just like, oh my God, is he even like that was so poorly done. Like not poorly done, like it's filmed
reflection in the car window, because I thought that was really cool, but then I was thinking, why didn't she just crouch down in the corner or something? Why the fuck she run out the front door?
That exactly, like it wasn't like shot poorly or any of that stuff. It was just a dumb scenario. Like they should have. She could have just easily just walked out and been like, "Oh, hey, I was looking for you." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why not?
I don't understand, like, because she hid in the place where she could realistically have just wandered round, but then she's just wandering around in a random car wash place where everybody could have gone, did you know your wife was down there with that bloke the other day?
Right.
She's just wandering around, touching his arm, and but then the one feasible place that she could have been, and she's like, oh, got to run out front door.
Yeah, it's crazy. Or even the funeral where they're like staring at each other like, ooh, there he is, there she is, there he is, there she is. Let me give him one more look. Like, don't you know the cops are standing right there? Like, that's just stupid.
There's a scene where the cop's eyes are literally going.
Yeah, right? Are you thinking what I'm thinking? I'm thinking what you're thinking.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Come on. You know what I find interesting though, Carly? The levels of ratings for the movies that we give. Like how I could look at a movie like this and be like, okay, I got issues with it. It wasn't that bad. It was pretty well made. Great cinematography, all these things, but I could still rate it super low because the level of stupidity in comparison to like how good it looks or how well made it might be. It's like it deserves a lower rating kind of thing. And then other movies that look terrible in comparison, right, can get rated higher just because they're way smarter. They're not quite as like, they didn't make, I guess, terrible mistakes like that. It might not necessarily be the greatest movie in the world, but they at least seem like they had their shit together, I guess, so to speak, with some of that stuff. So I don't know. It's always hard to rate these because of that, because I'm just like thinking like, well, I mean, shouldn't this movie have a higher rating because of this, and this? But I don't know. So anyways,
Yeah.
I'm curious what you thought about this one, because yeah. Do you want to rate? I think I rated last time first.
Yeah, you did. You did.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I'm like the opposite to you. I wasn't hooked from the minute that I started watching it. I was like, this is a bit boring. This is a bit stupid. Is this all it's going to be?
Yeah.
And then, because I didn't think that they were going to, because they went so long with them not doing anything about the jewelry robbery, that I thought, what was the point of that?
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed to go so far into the film before she went, I know what we'll do. We'll just rob the jewelry and run away and whatever. And from that point, I really, really enjoyed it up until the end. I didn't enjoy the end.
Mm.
And I thought that I really loved the friends. Is it Phyllis? Phyllis and Tom. I think
Yeah, I
that's the
think so.
name.
Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed them being included in the second portion because they were so realistic and they were so funny. And it was just
I
nice
didn't
having like a voice of reason.
Yeah, I thought I did really like them too. I just didn't like she was so mean to him, like calling him fat and like all these things like that, and like, oh, he's not particularly like attractive, but he gets me everything that I want. You know what I mean? I was like, it's really kind of mean spirited, like for and he's just like, yeah, sure,
I'll go back to the bar.
Yeah, so like I still had a little bit of issue, but I really liked them. Like they were likable in the movie. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was I think it was a nice way to try and tell her, just chill out. If you just chill out, if she'd have just chilled out and somebody had cut that phone cord, she would have been fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fact that she just couldn't calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
Because if she hadn't been crazy, he never would have gone off with and been tempted by the stew and the new life that he could lead with that woman. The police wouldn't have been suspicious. They probably would have got away with it. The only sort of like loose end would be the jewelry person who needed the jewelry back. Well, if they'd have just given him the jewelry because it was worthless, I don't think he would have done anything. So they kind of would have been like even Stevens.
Yeah, which also was I forgot about that.
Like he erased the tape for the divorce, so she wasn't being cut out the will because he erased that.
Right. Did it bother you at all? Because like the jewelry thief guy, kind of that actually bothered me a little bit, and I forgot about it. But he was so quick and willing to kill his two accomplices.
Yeah.
But then was just like, oh, just give me the jewelry and I'll let you go. And it's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
That really was like very uneven to me. But in that story world, yeah, they just given him the shit. I mean, who knew even if he was telling the truth? You know what I mean? Who knows?
True.
But,
yeah. And because I thought that was a clever way of doing it as well. Like that he'd already sold them, and he basically wanted to get an insurance claim. I was like, that's a really clever idea.
Right.
In terms of writing that down.
Yeah. And if that had been a bigger part of the movie, you know what I mean? If that was the plot, it'd been a different movie. Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing that I think it's a shame is because I thought that the chap that played her husband was really, really good. So if it got to the crunch of where I wanted it to get sooner, we would have had less scenes with him. And I thought he was the only kind of thing keeping me interested through the opening bits, really. But obviously he needed to be murdered to sort of like trigger it all. So I think my main issue overall is probably that I think personally it's too long. But it's weird because you were hooked from the minute and probably maybe would have preferred a little bit off the end, whereas I'm the opposite. I would have preferred a bit more off the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So where'd you cut it? But I
Yeah,
did enjoy
yeah,
it, and I really enjoyed seeing new people, new fresh people as well. It's been ages,
yeah,
hasn't it?
yeah. It's true. It's true. Like, although I enjoy like a Edward G. Robinson movie or a Bogart or whatever, it is always fun to come across, especially I think a movie that's, in my opinion, like as well acted as it is. You know what I mean? Because we watch some, I guess you'd call them B noirs occasionally with some new people, but um, they're not particularly well acted necessarily.
Yeah.
So it is real interesting to see new people like that, you know. And I think that might have been part of the thing that hurt the movie when it was first released, people not knowing who they were. But I don't know.
Maybe.
Works for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, it does for me, to be fair. I don't think it's one that I'd watch again, but that's nothing to do with the film or the acting or anything like that. That's just my personal taste. I'm a bit weird like that sometimes. Some films I'll watch like 15 times, and others couldn't care if I never saw it again. So I don't really think there's nothing generally bad. It's just not overly a bit heavy on the romance for my personal taste, but I think I'm gonna say like an 8 because I think a 9's too high. That says that like I enjoyed it too much when I didn't. I didn't dislike it, so it shouldn't really get anything below like a 7. I don't know. So yeah, I say 8. I think that 8's fair for me for what I didn't like.
Wow. Okay.
Hmm.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, I do think it's interesting how our perspectives are. You'd cut stuff off the beginning, and I'd cut, I don't, or whatever that was. Like, I just,
Mm.
I think I would probably cut things out of the middle. You know, I would take
Yeah.
out some of the lame things like the car thing, and probably um, I think they already set up enough that the husband thinks she's cheating because they set that up
Yeah.
in the garage, you know, and so he didn't need to necessarily see. He could have just suspected who it was, and I would have been fine with that. And we didn't need to hit it
Yeah.
over the head. And that scene didn't work for me either. Like her trying to escape a scenario where it's very likely she could have just been there anyways, looking for her husband. So those little things like that really kind of broke the movie for me. And I would pull those out for sure. I do think that the end was a little long. There was a little too much, like, just not like big scenes that I would take out, but I would just shorten a lot of them, you know. And again, I think the beginning too could be, some of that stuff could be shortened. I do think that like getting to the heist took way too long. Absolutely.
Yeah.
They could have like put that a little earlier, and then the rest of the stuff could have still happened, just placed it a little different, and just shortened a lot of that stuff down. Because it was only like an hour and 35 minutes or an hour and 40 minutes maybe tops. So it wasn't a
Yeah.
particularly like a long movie, but it did play long in a lot of areas. And I agree, way too heavy on the romance stuff. Like, it's not something we needed to see over and over and over. Like, we get it. Affair, jewelry, whatever, death. We get it. Like, we don't need to keep pushing that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not as kind as you on this. Like, the strongest suits of this movie is the acting and the cinematography to me. And there's some story things that I really enjoyed. Like, I do like the setup, the concept of the heist and the jewelry, the fake jewelry, all that kind of stuff. I thought that was really cool, and that could be its own, plot for a movie, opposed to just being
Yeah.
sort of a B story. So I thought that those elements were really strong. I just think things just weren't utilized the way that I wanted them to. Yeah, so I give this movie a 6.
Oh, I thought you might have said 7. I didn't think you'd say 6.
Yeah, because I would watch it again just for the cinematography, because I really like some of those shots like a lot. Like I was just like, that was the one thing I'm watching and going, wow, that was a really great shot. Like that's unusual to see a shot like that in a noir, this old of a movie. Like I really thought that they did some really cool things. Not like big, things, but just like the way that they chose to like do a push in on something, or where they set the camera for the angle, was just like, that's unusual. That looked really good. And to me, that alone was worth, I think, another viewing just for those moments, not necessarily for the plot of the movie or anything like that. Because I think that the writing really hurt it in a lot of areas. And I mean, the director might have had a great career and made some notable films, but I just feel like certain aspects of this he should have caught and been like, okay, that's not working.
Yeah.
So that's a little hard for me to kind of like judge that, 50 years later, 60, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But it doesn't hold up for me as like a great film. I think there was a great film in there. But I think it's just unfortunate it didn't get there. So I think that's like, I'm torn with my rating, because it's like I really feel like there is something, there's like a 10 in there, but it's just never, like there's no way to go back.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it lands on 6 gens out of 10 gens for me, because the things that I have a problem with are like I have a big problem with, but the elements that are that I really love, I think are worth seeing again, but watching it through a different lens, not for the story.
Yeah.
Because
I always think it's a shame, because I wish that we could, like, with some of these films, it would be such a fun project to like recut them and put them together a different way, and then like rewatch it and see. Yeah,
no, I agree. And there's a lot of people that do that with like newer movies and stuff. You don't see that very often with older films. I think it's a great idea though. This would definitely be at the top of my list, I think, for doing something like that.
Yeah, I think it would for me as well, to be fair, because like you say, I think there's a really good film in there somewhere, and there's really good actors behind it, so it's a shame.
Yeah.
It's just a shame, really.
Yep, I agree on that. Well, you gave it an 8.
Yeah.
It's so weird because I feel like we agree, but then our ratings are like, that's a huge disparity. That's like a big gap. So that's interesting. I love that. And you wouldn't watch it again. You gave it an 8 and wouldn't watch it again. And I gave it a 6 and would watch it again.
I know. We're so weird.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but that's because I appreciate what the film's given me, and it's given me the dude whose name I can't remember, but I will remember. I'm going to go down a little rabbit hole and find more things he was in, because I thought he was great.
Tom Tryon. I don't know how else you would pronounce that last name, but it's so fun. Tryon Tom.
I will. But not Tom Cruise.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, folks at home, I do think that you should watch this movie. If not just for the cinematography. I really think it was fantastic. Maybe, to a much less extent the story, or at least how the story plays out. There are some good things in it, but there's also some not so good things. But for a big budget noir, it's interesting. I feel like it's sort of a strange movie, because there's not a whole lot of big budget noir films. And so it's an interesting watch, especially with the great acting, cinematography, and a well-known director helming it. Yeah, it's worth the watch. So have a Scarlet Sin while you watch the Scarlet Hour, and let us know what your rating might be on this film. I'm looking forward to hearing someone else tell us what they think. So with that said, we hope you guys join us for the next podcast. and we will see you next time.
Bye-bye. He's looking at you, kid.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Speakeasy Noircast. Make sure to visit our website, resurrectionfilms.net, where you can subscribe to the show in iTunes, Stitcher, or any of your favorite podcast apps so you'll never miss a show.